The Zoom, I was quite pleased to, when I looked at the Zoom recording and to listen to it compared to Camtasia. Zoom takes out a lot of noise, and I'm hoping they take this out. There's a guy with a blower. I'm sorry for that. There's really nothing I can do about it. Methods.
We can still hear you fine.
Oh, okay, good, good. Great. This is the lower and upper method, and here's the short version of what it does. You can call the method and you can append it to whatever variable you're using with a period. And what it will do is it will take the value of that variable and it will execute the whatever command the method evokes. Okay, so what the lower method does is it will convert, it belongs to string variables, and it will convert each individual element of the string variable to a lowercase letter. Okay, and upper, conversely, will take, it's a method that is attached and evoked with respect to a string variable, and it will change all of the individual characters in that variable to uppercase. Okay, so if we have this sort of situation where we say string 1 equals Mary with an uppercase M, and string 2 is assigned the value of Mary with a lowercase m, if we execute this Boolean expression, is string 1 equal to string 2, it will say false. But if we say string 1 dot lower equal to string 2 dot lower, that will be true. Okay, and note that the upper and lower method operate just in the moment and do not change the value of string 1 or string 2. This expression, although this expression will evaluate to true, string 1 has not changed. If you print string 1, it's still capital M-A-R-Y. If you print string 2, it's still lowercase m-a-r-y. Now, also note that the lower and uppercase methods change all of the characters in the affected variable, not just the first character. Okay, so if all of these are already lowercase and you execute lower against it, it doesn't change the value. If all of these are uppercase and you execute the lowercase, only when you express the variable with the lower method attached will it coerce all of the character values to be lowercase. Or if they're mixed, they'll all be lowercase. Okay, so upper and lower will change just for the time that it's evaluated, all of the characters in that string to be either upper or lower. Okay, we can demonstrate this using Python, but I don't think it's necessary. Okay, so we used this in the program, right? And this was a minimal. Here, let's take a look at that program. We're going to get into data validation in a lot more detail. What's the goal when you're writing a program? You're writing the source code that you're going to give to a user. The user doesn't have any idea what your source code says, but you want to make the program as idiot-proof as possible. You want to anticipate everything that the user might do wrong, and either prompt them exactly what you're looking for, or better yet, test what they actually input after the fact. And if it doesn't comply with the requirements, give them another chance. Say, I'm sorry, that's not a proper output. That's not a proper input. You need to enter such and such. Okay, so let's go back and look at this program. And you have this in day 2. Not sure why I have it in there. is invoice. Okay, so let's run this and I'll demonstrate what this does. Very simple data validation, but it only checks for uppercase R or uppercase W, right? If I run this and I say the customer type is, if I do it properly, I say lowercase r, the invoice total is 750. We get all this stuff. We get the discount amount, we get the total discount, we get the new invoice total. Okay, but if I run it again and I use an uppercase R and the user makes a mistake, enters uppercase R, it doesn't blow up. It runs because the lower method here appending the lower method to this variable customer type, which was established up here, automatically changes. If somebody entered in an uppercase R, it changes it to a lowercase letter and then tests whether it's equal to this. This is a pretty simple example, but lower and upper are used quite a bit just to make sure everything is either one or the other.
Jeff,
Yeah.
Dr. Umona, what was the discount percent with uppercase R? Discount? Shouldn't it have been 0?
Let's see. No, I think it's no, it's because no, why do you say that? Because it's this, right? And this says discount percent, it's not 0.25%. It means it's 25%.
I thought it should, not being a lowercase r or w would fall through to the final else.
And it would, except for this, except we're using the lower method to change it, right? So it changes.
Never mind.
Yeah. So that's what that does. Okay. So here, let's do a couple more. Right. You'll note chapter 3, I've already done the slides and I don't know if you can see them over here on the right. There are a whole bunch of them. There's 50 something. So I didn't have enough for 2, but I've got too many for 3. So we're into that already. Okay. So let's just do, well, maybe this is a good place to stop. Okay. So we're going to, in next week, we're going to look at if statements, and actually they are more formally called if, else ladders. And we're also going to look at iteration for loops, while statements. And there's quite a bit of grist in this material. There's a lot to absorb and to use. We're going to spend most of the day next Saturday looking at those with quite a few sample programs, and then another exercise. Okay. So again, the exercises in this course, the first one is simple. Okay. And probably everyone who tried it didn't have any problem. This week's exercise, it's a little more, you've got to do some conversions from gallons to liters. And that can be confusing. You may say, well, gee, Jeff, that's pretty simple. Yeah, normally it is, but you want to test your answers against mine because mine are correct. Okay, and then next week we're going to get into the use of these looping and control statements in more detail, and the exercises will get more complex as we go along. Okay, so again, if you have any questions in the interim, or you want to talk to me about anything, I'm very vigilant with email. Okay, so we're right up to the end here. Any questions or comments or anything before we stop?